So good morning and welcome back to the class. As I told you, we'll be starting with circles today. Now before we go and take up the theorem on circles, which is going to concentrate on the tangents of a circle, the entire chapter we are going to see how tangents behave and what are the properties of these tangents with respect to a circle is what we shall discuss. So we have to understand what are tangents. Also, we have to quickly recall all the attributes of a circle, means various parts of a circle we have to understand, for which we will quickly go through a video. It is just a 3 minutes video that I'm going to play. Let me share my screen. 1 minute. I'll just stop the screen recording for a minute. Give me 1 minute, please. Yeah, okay. I have started recording. Still people are joining. Oof. Okay, so I'll just share my screen and play the video. I will play it, though it's a lengthy video for 8 minutes or so. I'm going to play the first 3 minutes only. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
That it is playing.
First know what are circles, because they are all around us. But let's learn a lot more about circles in this particular session.
Can you hear? Is it audible, the video?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Question: what are the different ways of getting a circle? Simplest way of getting a circle is you take a line, just rotate the line, so we get a circle like that. Now, if you define, so what is a circle? A circle, as you can see here, is a set of all the points in a plane which are at a fixed distance, because all these points are at a fixed distance from the central point. So it is a set of all the points in a plane which are at a fixed distance from a fixed point. Now this fixed point is called the center of the circle, and the fixed distance is called the radius of the circle, as all of you know. Now, there are a lot more interesting ways of getting to a circle. You already know what are triangles, other polygons like quadrilateral. So if we start with a line, 2 lines together, we get an angle. 3 lines, we get a triangle. Now, if I take one more triangle, I'll get a quadrilateral. If I make this triangle one too many, that is, if I keep on adding triangles, more and more triangles, I'll get pentagons, hexagons, octagons. And if I do this infinite number of times, I'll get a circle. So circle can be taken as the last polygon if you are considering triangle as the first polygon. So triangle to a circle, how are they connected? In simple terms, we can say that they are connected like one to many. Triangle to a circle is one to many, because if you put infinite number of triangles together, we'll end up getting a circle. Now, same circle, just to make you think further, same circle if I cut, if I straighten it out, I get a line. And that's where we started from, right? So line can be taken as a circle with infinite radius, that is if you stretch your imagination, and circle can be taken as a polygon with infinite lines or infinite sides. So, and circles are very easy to understand. The properties of circles are very interesting. They are all interrelated. So even though I'll discuss a lot of properties as part of this session, you're going to find this session as easy as any of the other sessions in geometry. Now, take a circle. As you can see, this circle will divide the plane on which it lies into 3 parts. And it's called exterior of the circle, and interior of the circle. The whole chapter is about how circles and lines interact in a plane. So let's visualize. If I take a circle and a line, now what are the different ways of placing this line? line can be outside like this. If I push this up, where it's touching the circle at just one point, it's called a tangent. If I push this up further, where it's cutting the circle at 2 points, it's called a secant. But this line segment within the circle is called a chord. Now, if I push this up further, where it's passing through the center, where the chord is taking its maximum length, it's called a diameter. So these are very simple terms. So you know what is a chord, you know what is a diameter, you know what is a tangent. So basically diameter is the longest chord and it will be equal to 2 times the radius. Next we will see now a piece of a circle between the 2 points is called an arc. So if I take this particular circle, if I take these 2 points, this is called a minor arc and this is called a major arc. PQ is the chord here. Now when PQ is the diameter, both minor arc and the major arc, both will become semicircles. Now length of the complete circle is called the circumference. If you try understanding more about circumference, now what is the circumference of a circle in terms of radius? It's 2 pi into radius. That's why it's 2 pi r. If you take r as the radius. Now, if you want to visualize what is circumference, if I take a circle like this, cut the circle, straighten this out, length this, cut the circle, straighten this out.
So with respect to whatever he has discussed, some of your audios are not muted. That's why my screen is not sharing. Please mute your audios. Okay, can you hear me now? Still people are getting
Yes, yes ma'am.
Okay, I hope the audio was clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with that introduction which was given is for circles. Now, because as I already said, we are going to see only circles with respect to their tangents. So how a line interacts with a circle will make it a tangent or not a tangent. This is what he discussed with you previously. Now, I am also going to continue with that. Now, can you see the board on which I have drawn the circles and interaction of a line with the circle? Can you see the board clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you will be drawing these figures later on maybe. If you don't find time now, just listen to me. You can play back and always draw the figures. Now I have taken 3 cases in which a line is interacting with a circle. The circle is already there. The line is going to interact with the circle in different manners. In the first case, I have a non-intersecting line and a circle. That means there is no connection between the line and the circle. So there is no property that we have when the line is not connecting or not interacting with the circle. Second case, you can see the line is just touching the circle. When I said touching the circle, there is only one point of contact between the boundary of the circle and the line. Now such a line which touches the circle exactly at one point will be called the tangent to the circle. And the point at which it touches the circle is called the point of contact. So all these terms you must remember. Whenever we talk about a tangent of a circle, we must know there will be a point of contact between the tangent and the circle. Only because there is a point of contact, it becomes a tangent. If it is not touching the circle, then it is going to remain a non-intersecting line and a circle. Then we have no properties to learn from them. Alright. Now, suppose moving further, I lift the line slightly above inside the circle. Now see what happens. When the line is touching the circle at more than one point, you can see now there are 2 points where the line is interacting with the circle. So what has happened to the line now? It was called a tangent when there was only one point of contact. Now when you further move the line into the circle, there are 2 points where the line is intersecting the circle. Now the special name given to a line which is intersecting the circle at 2 distinct points is called the secant of a circle. That means the secant will cut through a circle such that it intersects the circle at two distinct points. Now, this part of the circle, can you identify what is this AB for the circle? With respect to the circle. Yeah, it is the chord of the circle, because if I mark any 2 points on the circumference of the circle and join them with a straight line, what I am going to get is the chord. So, a chord is a part of the secant of a circle. Secant is a line. It is not having any endpoints. It will cut through the circle such that it will intersect the circle at 2 distinct points. And when you take those 2 distinct points and only consider the line segment between those 2 points, then we get the chord of a circle. So I can say the chord of a circle is a part of the secant of a circle. Clear? Now we are going to concentrate only on the tangents to a circle. Now there are a few questions which I have for you. You have to think and tell me if you are able to answer those questions. Now we have already understood that a line segment which intersects or touches the circle at exactly one point is called the tangent to the circle. Now suppose I mark a point inside the circle and I want to draw tangents to the circle from that point, anywhere inside the circle. When I take a point and I want to draw tangents to the circle from that point, how many tangents do you think you will be able to draw?
Ma'am, infinite.
Ma'am, 0.
Please listen to the question carefully and answer. I have marked the point inside the circle and I am trying to draw tangents to the circle. My question is, how many tangents do you think you can draw from a point inside the circle?
Ma'am, 0.
There
Zero.
cannot be any tangents drawn from a point inside the circle. Because when I take the point inside the circle and try to draw line segments, lines, it will definitely cut through the circumference at more than one point. Alright, so then there is no concept of tangents at all. So from a point inside the circle, I can't draw tangents to the circle at all. Alright, now suppose I take any point outside the circle and I want to draw anywhere outside the circle, not on the circle. I'll come back to that later on. I take any point outside the circle. From that point, how many tangents do you think you can draw to the circle?
Infinite.
One.
Infinite.
2.
Only one, somebody is telling one, somebody is telling infinite. You will find out the answer for this yourself by marking any point outside the circle and draw tangents. The condition for a line to be a tangent is that it should touch the circle exactly at only one point. How many such lines could you draw?
Ma'am, 2. Ma'am, 2.
2. Somebody says 2, somebody says 1, somebody has told infinite.
Ma'am, can you repeat your question once again?
I leave the question there. Now I have a third question for you. I have a point on the circle now. That means on the circumference of the circle. And I want to draw tangents to the circle from that point. Say I mark the point A here somewhere. Anywhere on the circumference. In that case, how many tangents do you think you will be able to draw to the circle?
1.
Only one. Because the point is fixed and it is very clear I can draw only one tangent. That is what you are saying. And from outside the circle, you are telling me there can be infinite tangents which can be drawn. And from inside the circle, we have already admitted that there are no tangents which can be drawn. So I give you some time to analyze because these are very important questions which you should be able to convince yourself with. Only then you have understood tangents. I am not going to answer this here now. Maybe in the next class we will take up more discussion. Why I am leaving it unattended is I want you to draw and find it out yourself. Alright. Now because of this shortage of time today, I am proceeding. So this figure should be drawn in your classwork. Now we will move on. We have the first theorem in the chapter, which you have to learn properly. This is the first theorem connecting the tangent to the circle. The property of a tangent is what we are going to study as theorem 1. Please take down the statement, very important statement. Every year it is asked in the board exams. Theorem 1. The tangent at any point of a circle is perpendicular to the radius through the point of contact. So suppose I have a tangent drawn to a circle, then the angle between the radius and the tangent at the point of contact will be 90 degrees. This is the property of the tangent. It's a very, very significant property of the tangent. The tangent at any point of a circle is perpendicular to the radius. So when you join the center of the circle to the radius, the center of the circle to the point P, which is the point of contact of your tangent and the radius, or the tangent and the circle. P is the point of contact between the tangent and the circle. Now you have drawn the radius in such a way that you intersect the center with point P. What you get will be the radius. Am I correct? Are you seeing the figure completely? Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So draw this figure. This is where it is going to lead me into the proof of the theorem. So if I take a circle with center O and some radius R, and I draw a tangent XY with a point of contact P with the circle. P is the point of contact between the tangent and the circle. Alright. Then when I connect the center of the circle to the point P, what I will be drawing is the radius. Do you agree? Any point on the circumference of the circle, when it is connected to the center, what you get is the radius. Now I have to show that this angle OPR or OPY is 90 degrees. That's what the theorem states. If I draw a tangent to a circle at any point, it is perpendicular to the radius through the point of contact. That means at the point of contact, the angle between the radius and the tangent will be 90 degrees. This is what we have to prove. Still people are getting added. I don't know how long I'll be adding them like this. Alright. So with this information, you should be able to write what is given and what is to be proved. Given circle O with center O and radius R with XY as the tangent and P as the point of contact. Alright, this is all that is given to me. I have a circle which is having a center O and radius R, and XY is the tangent to that circle with P as the point of contact between the circle and the tangent. What I have to prove? I have to show that OP is perpendicular to XY. Go back to your diagram. Always with reference to your diagram only you should be able to see. I have to show that OP is perpendicular to XY. Or in other words, I have to show the angle between the radius and the tangent at the point of contact is 90 degrees. Now the next part is the construction that I have to do, because without this construction I can't get a proof at all. So locate a point. Somebody is getting added. Locate a point R on XY other than P and join the O and R. Now let me go back to the diagram. You are going to locate a point R anywhere on the tangent XY other than P. P is already the point of contact. So you are going to locate a point R on the tangent XY such that it is a point other than P. And you are going to join your O and R. When you join your O and R, see something else is going to happen. It will intersect, this segment OR will intersect the circle at another point Q. And what is this OQ with respect to the circle?
Mom, arc.
Yes, not arc, OQ. OQ
Radius.
is the radius.
Radius.
Of the circle. You have seen, I have marked it there. OP and OQ are the radius of the same circle. When I join O and R, I am getting a segment such that the path of OR is OQ and QR. That means when I try to join the center with R, I am getting another radius of the circle also. Can you see that? So that's the point of argument I am going to start from. So I hope you have written what is given and what is to prove with the construction also taken. Now my argument of the proof. First I'll show you the argument of the proof, then come back to the diagram and try to explain to you again. So from the figure I know my OP and OQ. You have your figure with you, please look. Are OP and OQ the radii of the circle? Are they equal then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then I can write from the figure again that OR is equal to OQ plus QR. Because OR is a bigger length, it is OQ plus QR. If you look at your figure, you will understand that. OR can be written as OQ plus QR. Because I already have OP is equal to OQ, and now my OR is equal to OQ plus QR, which means my OR is bigger than or greater than OQ. Because if I add something to OQ, I get OR. So from this equation, can I generalize this that OR is going to be greater than OQ? Because OQ plus some other segment is equal to OR, which means your OR is going to be greater than OQ. But already I know my OP and OQ are equal. So in the place of OQ, can I substitute OP because they are equal? So instead of saying OR is greater than OQ, I can also say OR is greater than OP. Or in other words, OP is lesser than OR or smaller than OR. I have just written it the other way. If OR is greater than OP, it means OP is lesser than OR. Now, if this is going to happen, since this happens for every point on the line XY except P. So, P will be that point where you will have OP is equal to the radius itself. Any other point if you mark on XY other than P, definitely there will be this additional length which will come. If you mark it here, 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 or on the other side also. When you join, you will get a line segment OR1, OR2, OR3, whatever you get, will be greater than OP. That means for all other points on XY other than P, OP will be the shortest one. All other points anywhere on XY, if you take a point and join it to O, all those segments will be longer than or greater than OP. Or I can say OP is the shortest distance between the center and the tangent. Alright, and we know the shortest distance between a point and a line segment is called its perpendicular distance. Always the perpendicular distance is the shortest distance between a point and a given line. Now that is what we are going to use in our argument further and say, since this happens, that is OP is smaller than OR, that means OP will be smaller than any other segment that you take on a XY, which is the tangent. Then I can say this is going to happen for every point on the line XY except the point P. What is going to happen? That OP will be smaller than OR. It can be smaller than OR1, R2, R3, wherever you take it on XY other than P. OP will be the smallest among all the segments. Hence, you can go back and say, this means OP is the shortest distance between the center and the line XY. What is this line XY for the circle? It is the tangent. So,
Tangent.
the shortest distance between the center and the tangent XY is going to be the perpendicular distance. We know that the perpendicular distance is the shortest distance between a point and a line. Now we are able to show that OP is the shortest distance between O and XY. So what can I tell about OP? OP will be the perpendicular distance between O and XY. And that's exactly what I want. I have to show that OP is perpendicular to XY. I have said OP is the perpendicular distance means it is making a 90 degrees with the line XY, which is going, the line XY, which is my tangent. Alright. So because I have argued that OP is the shortest distance, and already we know the perpendicular distance is the shortest distance between a point and a line, I can go and say OP is perpendicular to XY. And that's exactly what I had to prove. I had to show that the radius and the tangent will make an angle of 90 degrees at the point of contact. So this is how you have to argue in this complete proof. This is a known fact to you. You are bringing your OP as the shortest distance between O and XY, and using your knowledge that the perpendicular distance is the shortest distance between a line and a point, we are able to say OP has become perpendicular to XY. And that's exactly what I have to prove, because I had to show that the radius and the tangent makes an angle of 90 degrees at the point of contact. So is the argument clear? You have to write it exactly like this. Don't even change one sentence here. Just write down the proof as I have given and complete it. Alright, so though I have a little more time, I think I will stop here with some work for you which you can complete. There is one exercise on tangents. Maybe you can turn back. Do you want me to show any of these previous pages that you had to see? Should I go back to any of these or it is done? Why nobody is answering? Sleeping, that's
Ma'am,
it.
construction.
You wanted to see the construction part. Okay, I'll just come back from the beginning. This is your statement followed by Okay, somebody wanted the construction, is it? So please see that you are able to complete this. And I have one more thing that you have to complete also, because we have already seen a video on the properties of tangents. You should be able to complete exercise 10.1 in page number 209. Please complete that. It's all descriptive things. You should be able to read your text and be able to answer all those questions. I have left you with 2 more questions. I have asked you how many tangents you can draw from a point inside the circle, from a point on the circle, and from a point outside the circle. If you are able to draw figures and show it to me clearly that this is how it can be done, I am happy you have understood how a tangent will interact with the circle. So because I have some other commitment, I will stop here. If there are any more doubts, please see that from tomorrow onwards you will do the recall also. As I add the theorems, you may have to recall one every day, alternately. 1, 2 and 3. I'll be introducing a third theorem also. Though the textbook has got only 2, I'll be introducing the third one also. So one at a time till we complete the chapter on circles, we have to be recalling. Is that clear? So I will stop here. Please complete the work that I have assigned and see that your classwork is complete with theorem 1. Please do not argue in any other way. This is exactly the same sentences you write with the same diagram, clarity on showing what is the radius, what is OR, OQ, OP, etc. And argue with that, telling that the perpendicular distance is the shortest distance and hence OP becomes perpendicular to XY. Is that clear? So it is a bye from here now. You can rejoin. Okay, I'll just stop the recording. I have something to say.